Madaka mala nkulam da anwu.
Good Conduct Great Life is brought to you by Indomie. Tastes great.
More Kivo inside. Kivo Gary Soaking Mix. A taste of Ghana.
Gold, bauxite, manganese, lithium, Ghana's minerals, and billions, and now anchor our national reserves. But in the communities that host the mines, the question is simple: what stays here? On the 18th of August 2026,
Menstrual hygiene remains a significant barrier to girls' education and well-being, particularly in some disadvantaged communities. UNESCO estimates, for example, that about 1 in 10 girls in sub-Saharan Africa misses school during menstruation. And in some areas in our own country, far too many schoolgirls are forced to use improvised and sometimes substandard materials because sanitary products are unaffordable.
Menstruation is a natural biological process, but for millions of girls in Ghana, it is not just about blood, it is about shame, fear, poverty, and missed dreams. Over the years, UNICEF Ghana, through its WASH and adolescent, gender and youth programs, has supported menstrual hygiene initiatives. Yet, according to the Ghana Statistical Service Mixed Survey, 9 out of 10 girls in Ghana miss school during menstruation due to cost, stigma, and lack of facilities. Girls often lack safe spaces, accurate information before first menstrual period, and affordable sanitary materials. Many resort to rags, toilet rolls, and papers, especially in rural areas, which sometimes lead to exploitation. In response, government allocated 292.4 million Ghana cedis in the 2025 budget for free sanitary pads in primary and secondary schools.
I promise to reintroduce the distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools. The 2025 budget statement allocated 292,400,000 Ghana cedis for this commitment, and I launched this initiative on the 24th of April 2025. Procurement is ongoing for over 6 million sanitary pads, with each student receiving 3 packets per term at the basic level and 4 packets per semester at the secondary level. Distribution will be done through the Ghana Education Service structure to all 261 districts, ensuring that no beneficiary is left out.
Girls are still missing school during their periods. For many, the reasons are painfully simple: no pads, no privacy, no water, but overwhelming shame. In the Ashanti region, I met Amina, a head porter at the bustling Edum Central Business District. Her job is tedious, but she keeps moving. Each trip means a little more money for survival. She is a mother of 3, 1 boy and 2 teenage girls who have started menstruating. Amina says she's unable to afford sanitary pads for herself and her 2 daughters because the price is too high for her.
If your menses come, sometimes you can carry the distance, the pine, and what am I going to say? Like you want to find 1 cedi or 2 cedi and buy something to eat, you won't get that money. So if you didn't get that money and you are, but you can't find money to buy this thing pad.
Sanitary pad.
So it's difficult for us.
So when you don't get the money to buy the sanitary pads, what do? You
can take this thing, T road or this thing, what am I going to
Papers?
The paper or this thing, rag. So all that is infection for us.
Amina recalls a painful moment when menstruating while carrying a heavy load with no access to proper materials or a place to clean up.
If you come to work, there is no money to eat. And if you menstruate, you can't find money to buy pad. Sometimes you carry the pan and you want to find 1 cedi or 2 cedis and buy something to eat, but you won't get that money. And if you don't find that money to buy food to eat, then you can't also find money to even purchase sanitary pads.
Her story mirrors that of many market women. In several instances, when caregivers cannot meet this basic need, girls are pushed into transactional sex, exchanging their bodies for money to buy sanitary pads. Menstrual poverty becomes a driver of sexual exploitation. Sister Olivia Omo is a director at the Safe Child Advocacy in the Ashanti region. She tells me the horrifying situation of many young girls in the region who are unable to afford a sanitary pad during menstruation.
Sometimes very disheartening. You see girls come up to us and you ask them, why are you looking so miserable today? Why are you so dull? Why are you so sad? And after much trust, they are able to share with you that they are in menses, they don't have sanitary towels, and so they can't go around the markets to carry load as usual because they are afraid they will be soiled. And we even have cases of girls who have come dripping and crying too, because when people see them and start embarrassing them, the next thing is for them to cry because they know they cannot afford to buy sanitary towels to keep themselves well.
According to her, the condition is terrifying and surprising to encounter in today's Ghana.
It's just a pity that buying sanitary towel for some young girls in vulnerable situations, not just those on the street, but even some of our girls that we sponsor in schools, when they have to bring the issue of sanitary towel and you add it up to the costs of the prospectus that you have to get for them, you discover that over time it becomes burdensome. And the girls are sometimes ashamed to even talk about sanitary towel as a need when they are listing their numerous demands of the school.
The story of Amina does not end in the market. It follows us into the classrooms. Girls play and laugh, but glance nervously at their uniforms. Here at Kokobin MA Basic School, fear hangs quietly. The fear of blood stain, the fear of ridicule, the fear of missing yet another lesson.
Working closely with my SHEP coordinator, sometimes we get into contact with these girls, and sometimes the story they tell is very appalling, and sometimes you want to even to weep because the children find themselves in very difficult situation during their menstrual cycle. There was a situation whereby we discovered that They were even using some of their exercise books. Yes, at school, when they see that happens, then they will tear some part of their exercise books and then try to manage of it.
School records show that many girls in their menstrual cycle miss classes regularly and some drop out entirely. We met Abigail, a teenage girl in her final year of junior high school. She lives with her grandmother. There is love in that home, but no money to purchase a sanitary pad during menses. As she speaks, tears flow freely. Each tear carries missed lessons, missed exams, and missed dreams.
I
stay with my grandmother and we don't have money. Anytime my flow begins, I depend on my sister's pad. If she doesn't have some, I use her toilet roll.
Abigail tells how, as a user of rags, she manages to keep them clean.
I don't just have one rag, I have two. So when the other gets dirty, I wash and take the second one.
Another student, Susanna Cheibafo, is just 14. For Susanna, menstruation does not last 5 days. It lasts a month because fear keeps her away.
When my menstrual period happened, my mother don't have money, so my mother used to go to some place and collect toilet roll and give it to me. When she comes, I stop school. I don't come to school about 1 month's time or 2 weeks. Then I use the toilet roll.
Is it just the toilet roll that you use?
Sometimes when my mother did not get the toilet roll, I use rag. When I come to school, I miss the subject they have learned. I don't understand anything, and it have get me a lot of problems. So I need help to get sanitary pad. When I get it, I can come to school and learn and get all the understanding.
People perceive that if we are in the city, some of these shouldn't be encountered. But I can tell you with a number of experience I've had all over these years since I became a teacher that it has been a very great challenge in the school. Why? Because when it comes to the government school, majority are living with other people. It's few of them who are living with their parents. So those who have been brought from the village, the north, all over the country to come and live with people to assist them in their household chores, that has been brought here. It's become a challenge because they don't get what they want. So some of them end up using newsprint to that extent. Some of them uses their exercise book.
Medical evidence shows that poor menstrual hygiene increases reproductive tract infections. Blood loss without proper nutrition exposes girls to anemia. But beyond health, something else is lost: confidence. "17-year-old Priscilla runs towards the school toilet, clutching a paper. Inside, there is no water. The floor is wet. The smell is heavy. Yet, she must clean herself as the examination waits.
It's me at a way and smile, but say, and to maybe I need.
Inside this toilet, I use neat rags, sometimes papers and toilet roll. But for the rags, I have to be changing it periodically. This is because I don't have any pad and I don't have money to buy some. My grandmother doesn't have money. The day I have pad, I come to school, but when I use rags, I stay home.
Adam me pad and me best school. Sa pad na me used to diaba. But say me ni pada sa da na me best school. meyi so ntomago no wo fie said e be boa me.
We have the challenge of wash facilities. This is a basic school made up of the kindergarten, the primary section, and the GHS. But there is only an old, dilapidated toilet facility. It's a very big challenge to the school, and even in terms of menstrual hygiene, it's difficult for even girls to come to school because even those with pads, where to change, there are no changing rooms for them. So they would rather stay home and manage during their menstrual cycle. So wash facilities is a very big challenge of the school.
Now, what you see behind me is an uncompleted school block that has turned into a hideout for some of these girls who undergo their menstrual period. Up there are some young girls who whisper to me that one of their colleagues is menstruating, and for fear of stigmatization, this is where she has to go to change herself during the school period. Now, it is likely that for her, with her colleagues around her, she's using not a sanitary pad, but a rag, a toilet roll, or an exercise book. Government allocated over 292 million Ghana cedis in 2025 to provide free sanitary pads. Yet, here, the reality remains unchanged.
Honestly, it's not enough. Why? Because I am their girl shadow and shop coordinator and been sharing the sanitary pads to these students. I remember I have to give them at least 3 or 2 pads. Here goes a student. I have come down to their level, like I'm their mom, their friend, their everything. So they open up to me. Some of them are heavy flow students. They have heavy bleeding. So even 2 sanitary pads can take them just a month. So I asked myself, what about the rest of the month? But I realized that when it came, we saw some slight differences in the population because they started coming to school because at least some of these things will be provided. But when they get finished, that was one of our challenges. They go back to the old style again because they won't get access to it.
But where systems fail, communities sometimes rise. Despite this growing crisis, there is a tide turning. Just as the ocean shapes the land, a new movement is shaping the future of young girls in the central region. We drive from the coast of Winneba to the Ejumaku Enyamesiam district to a small farming community called Obontare. It was once known for school dropouts and teenage pregnancies. But out of hardship, the community built something powerful, a pad bank. Not a donation center run by outsiders, not a short-lived project tied to promises, but a community-owned lifeline, centralized and safeguarded by the traditional authorities themselves. At funerals, weddings, naming ceremonies, and community gatherings, a simple appeal is made. Coins drop into bowls, envelopes are passed quietly. Every contribution, small or large, becomes a shield for a girl yet to come. Every month, sanitary pads are purchased. This initiative goes beyond access. Under the supervision of the chiefs, records of adolescent girls are carefully kept, not to police them, but to protect them. Their menstrual cycles are discreetly monitored. When a girl misses her flow, the system responds not with punishment, but with intervention, counseling, and care.
This teenage pregnancy, too much in our village. Actually,
Teenage pregnancy was a big challenge in our community previously. In 2023 alone, we could record 5 to 6 pregnancies from teenage girls who sat for the basic education certificate examination until we came up with an idea of establishing a pad bank which will supply sanitary pads to the girls but also be a means to track whether they are pregnant or not.
At the Obontari Basic School, this innovation has done more than keep girls in class. It has changed destinies.
Time to share the sanitary pad, please.
Among the many lives touched is Gloria Sam. She was just 14 years old when she experienced her first menstruation. At school, Gloria is known as diligent, focused, determined, but that was not always enough. Before the pad bank, Gloria says her period days were filled with fear.
Things were difficult previously. I am shy, so when I come to school, I get scared that blood will stain my uniform, so I stayed inside and not enjoy the break period. The boys used to laugh at me while I'm stained. When I report them to my madam, she tells me to go home and change myself. But even when I get home, I had no pad to use.
But today, the story has changed. With access to pads, Gloria walks into class with confidence. Her attendance is consistent. Her performance has improved. She no longer fears her body. For Gloria's mother, Mami Sam, the relief is visible. She says the pad bank has lifted the burden many parents silently carried.
On mine, Anna, community, on mine.
This intervention from the community prevents men from deceiving our children. It has equally helped parents because if your daughter asks for something and you don't get it for her, she is easily deceived by men and it destroys their future. This intervention really comes to block this. The chief gives the pad to the children or their parents. This helps us know that the girl is not pregnant.
Madam Dorothy Aka speaks with excitement. She has seen the struggle firsthand. Instances when girls ask for permission to leave class and never returning for the day.
I remember one scene, that was last term. A girl who had soiled herself sent a friend to come and tell me that she wants to go to the house and change. And I asked the reason for the changing, and she was saying she was not having sanitary pad and she used the olden time, the rag, and her uniform is soiled, so she has to go home and change. And going home, she's not coming back. So that's the incident I remember. And bringing this sanitary pad thing is going to help them a lot.
But today, she says the community intervention has reduced absenteeism, improved participation. For her, the pad bank is not just a health solution, but an educational breakthrough.
So what they normally do is go in for this boyfriend so that the boys will give them money to purchase the sanitary pad. And sometimes because they don't get the money and they don't get the support from the homes, they come to school in this rag, the olden day thing. So I think the sanitary pad coming to the students will help a lot, especially those that are in the cycle at the moment.
The story of Obontari is not told in emotions alone, but it is written in results. In 2024 and 2025, the community recorded not a single school dropout linked to menstruation. For Headmaster Isaac Obing, the difference is undeniable. Before the initiative, he recalls losing bright students, especially girls, without explanation.
Taking that initiative, in fact, it is helping really the teachers. So sometimes we get the full complement of the students to teach, rather than those days when they are in the menstrual cycle or when they are in the menstruation period, they move to the house. Instead of doing that, it's also disturb their academic performance.
A UNICEF study now supports what Obontari already knows, a confirmation that this initiative works. Pakwesi Wood, a water and sanitation officer with UNICEF, reviews data showing the intervention's impact on attendance, hygiene, and adolescent well-being. He describes it as result-oriented, scalable, and deeply rooted in community ownership.
The important thing about this is that it resolves a big gap, which is that girls are not able to afford basic necessities. And so they sometimes go into relationships as a way to, get a supporter to help them pay for these necessities. The data is very supportive. Data that we have supports this. We did a study in 2023, and we found out that amongst adolescent girls, about 51% said that they can't afford sanitary pads. And even a further 20% said that sometimes they can afford it, but sometimes they can't. So you can see there's a lot of adolescent girls who say that sanitary pads are unaffordable. And if their parents are not providing it, they do find other ways to provide for themselves.
The district chief executive for Jumaku Enyanisiam, Andrew Kojo Donko, believes this model must not remain in Obontere. He is calling on assembly members across the district to adopt it.
It promotes healthy condition for the girls. And you see, we have talked about this initiative for so long in the country that we should have this for our ladies. Because you see, when you come to Jumaku, we have smaller communities where living condition is very difficult. To acquire or to buy a sanitary pad is something hard for some of the parents to do. So it's a good initiative by the government to provide the girls with sanitary pad so that wherever you live, in the urban area or the smaller community, you can have access to sanitary pad when the ladies get into their period of that.
Sister Olivia Omo echoes that call, applauding the community's vision and urging nationwide adaptation.
I think that is wonderful and credible, and it's a model that we can all imitate. Such communities really stand out, and they should be, in fact, they should be brought to limelight to be appreciated for such initiative. So it's a good model, and I think we should really promote it.
In Obontere, pads are more than pads. They are protection, they are prevention, they are power. And in a small community that chose to act, girls are staying in school, dreams are staying alive, and futures are being rewritten, one pad at a time.
Well, after that big crisis in the